Okay, let's see. Premiering 1 minute ago, and I'm live. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing technology. My name's Marge. That's redundant. G. I'm gonna try and talk about. This is how I'm and I'm a Heyoka empath. I just like having talks on the way I feel about things. I equate feelings and emotions to frequency, and we're all tuning in. Where's people there? What's their natural baseline? What's that? Where are they comfortable at? I don't like it up here. I don't like it down here. I like it nice and balanced. I don't like too much stimuli. They ain't gonna take my soul juice. Energy harvesters. So I made some notes this morning. And how I wanted to detect technology is I wanted to have a live. Excuse me. I just had a barbecue beef sandwich for breakfast. Half of one left over from dinner. It's repeating on me. So, did I turn the oven on? No, I did not. So how I'm testing technology is I wanted to have a live and do a premiere and kind of talk about the same things. Just to see if I could do it. And I didn't actually start on the same time at the same time, but I started like a minute late because I was finished. I needed something to eat. My blood sugar was low. All right, here we go. I made some notes this morning. It's going to be an entirely different talk, but it's going to be about like the same stuff. Here we go. All right, some of the things that I made notes on because when I get up in the morning, Mom's sleeping. She'll be sleeping for a little bit longer, and I got all this energy, so I got to figure out how to use it wisely. Because if I don't use my energy wisely, it comes out sideways. And I don't want to do anything that impacts other people's lives, so I try and contain my own energy within my proximity. But I'm also the stater of obvious things, and I do that oftentimes on social media with my comments that I make. I'm not here to make friends, I guess. Anyway, it's a nice, pretty morning in northern New Mexico. Dogs all been out. They all had breakfast. Mom's in there dozing in and out, listening to Rockford Files. The world is quiet outside. There aren't a lot of clouds. All the clouds that were passing over yesterday and last night, or now we got like a cloudless day, except that right over the Wheeler Peak. Not real sure what's going on in the world. Haven't really looked. I was just listening to a talk by Pam Gregory, and then I was like, oh shoot, I gotta start this talk. Exits in life. Take them or pass them up. I look at life as a lot in pictures and analogies, and then I try. That's how, because a lot of times people have done these things, and so if I can relate to them in levels in which things that they've done, they're a little bit more easy and open and receptive to other thoughts and ideas I might have. I spent a lot of time on buses when I was growing up, when I was a little girl. First time I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 11 was the last year I actually did it. Then I became of a certain age, then I said I don't want to do it no more. I'm supposed to go down and see my dad, and I spend all this time on buses and doing all this stuff that isn't fun, and then only to be freaking him to be a jerk to me. And for years I didn't speak up about it. and I just let it happen. And then I came to a decision at some point that I wasn't going to allow that anymore. Now, when you're younger, you get signs. Take this exit. Do this. Big flashing signs. Go here. Have this experience. Drink this. Eat this. Take this exit. Do this. Well, when people do that, they get hung up on the exit and they forget to travel on down in life because they find whatever they need, whatever fixes, whatever's broke in them externally, they get it out there and they don't get back on the road of life. I used to do the same thing for a number of years. Drank alcoholically. I'd try any substance, put it in front of me just to see what it would do. Didn't care about myself or what it would make my brain do if it cause harm to others. Thankfully, none of that stuff never happened. It does happen every day to other people. So as I grow up, I start looking at the things. Okay, when I take this exit, people want me to take this exit. When I take this exit, bad things happen. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to continue on my path. Because that's the path of freedom. Get people, and then, or they do it with emotions, Like how many people have lived their lives because their parents, they want to make their parents happy, and their parents are the kind of people that are never going to be happy. I got people like that in my family. It don't matter what I do. They can make a whole list and give me every expected behavior. They could give me every behavior that they expected me, and I could comply to that list to a T. And people like that are never happy, what they do is they'll change the rules to get you to dance and move. That's what makes them happy, is you dancing and move. It's a power control thing. It's very animalistic. It's very primitive, and our planet will not evolve unless people come to realize these knowings and acknowledge them and then move on past them. I'm glad to see so many young people passing all the exits. That so many of us, I like to use a lot of other people as an example. I made a lot of my own mistakes in life. I like to let people use me as the example too. I see where people have accidents and then I don't do the things that they do. And I freaking am clumsy. I fall down. Usually whenever something bad happens, I'm not being present in the moment. Let that be a lesson to me. I'm not thinking about, especially if you're doing something that's dangerous, you need to only be thinking about that one thing that you're doing. You don't need to be worrying about a bill that needs to be paid. You don't need to be thinking about that disobedient kid that you didn't raise that way, but they turned out, or maybe the kid turned out exactly how you wanted it to, and you see how its freedom has been stifled, and you feel just as bad about it. Who knows, man? There's so many different storylines going on out there. I think storylines are just created for us to fine-tune our discernment, just to decide what's true or not. I don't buy the freaking all that space story, man. We don't go to space. That's stuff that it's theatrics. It's people don't have good ideas about how to create a reality on this earth that's good for everybody, so they stifle and hinder and take from everybody to suit themselves in their own weird freaking agendas for whatever reason. It doesn't matter, as long as people have an idea of this is how that I want the world. There's so many people mentalities that are in position of power. They all want to make the world how they want it, yet there's an organic way things are supposed to be, and that's going to ultimately win. So people could keep building their lake, their beachfront property, and the poles are going to keep flipping. It's like the earth is an erector set, or not a rector set, it's a etch-a-sketch. The controllers build it up, and then then universe creator says, no, you didn't do it right. I'm going to give you a chance, so we're going to wipe everything out. You can build up again. I hope you learn from your mistakes. Don't take those exits that don't serve you, and people aren't doing that. They're just living for themselves. They're taking all the exits and getting hung up. There's consequences, and this is the world we get. I had a moment of clarity this morning that sometimes I get scared about stuff, about, like, just losing people. Cause I don't have people in my life, so when I think about it, every person that I've ever been close with in my life, I've lost every single one of them because they're no longer here, whether they're dead or alive. And I guess you get to a certain age that you're less tolerant because, hearts of the matter for me are more significant. So I'm less tolerant than all this other stuff that people are willing to distribute. So I'm becoming more and more of a hermit, so to speak. I'm a Cancer rising, so I'm a hermit crab, so to speak. Anyway, I had a moment of clarity this morning, a realization that sometimes I get afraid of losing the things that I love so much. I forget to love them while they're here. Oh, so many things to remember. It's hard to keep track of all this stuff. You know what I mean? Fear sucks. The vibration of fear sucks. See, I believe that our frequency, like if we, how do I say this? How I said it on the premiere that's going on much better. That we create the energy in the atmosphere. How did I say? I think I wrote charging atoms by invoking fear. We charge the atmosphere, so to speak. Like, that's how, and what they do is they harness in and they collect people like a battery. I got one right here. This is for my back brace. Battery. That's all Coliseums are. And when they collect people in like concerts, sports events, their battery, and people get so excited. Yeah, they're charged up. There's all these different frequencies going on. People are drinking, so the demons are dancing, and they're dancing big and proud because look at all these people indulging in themselves. It's just a big collection of energy. And then they take this energy and they use this energy, and they invoke this energy also by doing things like putting stories in the news. People get that emergency text messages. I mean, remember a couple years ago that happened in Hawaii? Like imminent bomb, like here, that everybody that got that invoked a fear, that spiked energy. And wherever these spikes are on the grid, if they like think of all the cities that are on the 40th parallel. So if fires are going on in Redding, California, people are scared. And then in Omaha, there's like, I don't know, the bullshit freaking big red Husker suckers lose. So sad. They invoke emotion into the latitudes and longitude to mess with people's frequencies. People are that messes with your, so that creates medical problems, that enforces all the freaking sickness because they're making people sick. And then they collect all the energy that is just in the ethers, the no place space, and they profit from it, while the people that are getting sucked dry but see, they don't, people that don't care about other people don't realize the consequences of their actions. They just do stuff that they because they want to do. It's how psychopaths behave. Like people that are like, I've had people do really shitty things, and I've thought, you know what, I wouldn't do something like, and I've done shitty things to other people, don't get it wrong. Those are exits that I pass up now. I don't do the shitty things that I used to do because I felt so bad about doing them. I don't want to keep being the same person that behaves that way. I don't want to present an earth where the version of me where that exists anymore. So I leave that stuff in the past. We can change the earth we can change the earth by picking up a piece of trash. Maybe that's the switch that everybody needs to come into their collective awareness that they're not the center of the universe. There is no center of the universe. And if there is, it certainly isn't any individual on this freaking alien ant farm rock spinning through whatever we are on. If we're even spinning, everybody gets to use their own discernment to create the version of the planet in which we are on. Now, if people are peaceful inside, more than 50.001% whatever percent are more peaceful inside, we will create heaven on earth. But more people get like that excitement. They like that up here. So economic stimulus of currency. It's also punny, isn't it? Life is such a punny thing. I carry a sign that says, when does the government ever said anything true? And I had a dude present it to me that I appreciate, that he said, they always tell you what they're going to do. They just don't tell you when they're going to do it, or they'll tell you in inadvertent. They'll tell you through The Simpsons or some shit like that, I just, ever since I was a little girl, and I'm just like, I'm dealing in situations, I'm thinking, okay, this person is a control freak and they're making it how they, but there's always an organic way. There's always an organic way, like if both parties can benefit and both parties can win. But it's that frequency of greed and dominance and control and perversion that have taken over. And when more people like that fall off the balance has to, that's the thing, man. Satan's winning because of each individual choice that people are making. When I live for self, Satan wins. When I live for others, good orderly direction, God wins. World War III is of the spiritual variety. It's based on free will and what people choose to do with it. It's amazing. There should not be anybody on this planet that needs for anything. Yet, people have created an environment of people that have so much need. It's because they're needy. It don't trickle down. It never trickles down. The only thing that trickles down is shit. What else? I'm a whimsical dame and a dutiful broad. I'm here to speak out against the fraud. Now, that being said, fraud. What is a fraud to me? A fraud is somebody that presents themselves in a manner in which they aren't. And I've been a fraud in life. Because oftentimes I've acted like I was, No, I never really did that. There have been, as much as I've lived out loud in my life, there still have been times that I've hidden myself off, parts of myself off that other people couldn't see, just so I could go along with their group. And I won't do that anymore, because to me that's fraudulent behavior. And I won't do it. So, intangibles are my friends, music and words. Intangibles have always been my friends. Music and words and nature. Things that can't be beholden. People are weird, man. People are tricky. I have struggle. I'm pretty consistent. And I have a hard time when people are flipping the script all the time. So, I do spend a lot of time by myself. Things that I've come to realize recently, the CIA, FBI, NASA, all of those alphabet soup, they're all organizations. They're like grown-up groups like Brownies and the Boy Scouts and stuff like that for rich, entitled people. You can't be a regular person and work for those places. I saw an advertisement that the state of California is hiring for some positions, and it's like $63,000 or $83,000 to $160 something thousand was the pay scale. and and you read the comments in these, and other people recognize it too for the fraudulent system that it is. That like you have to know somebody, you know. You don't like there is no organic anymore. The world has been hijacked in all kinds of ways, different ways. You know, by salespeople just trying to sell you shit you don't need. Manipulation, lying. What am I? Is this true? Do I need this to be healthy? Do I need that? You know. So I'm happy to see more people cutting themselves off from all that stuff, and they're listening to their heart. There's a young man that I've been tracking since his whole life because I knew his mom. His mom died of, you know, so what? So many people die young from just not taking care of themselves, and he just recently posted that he's gonna take a course to go learn HVAC, and I was like, that's smart, you know. He's like in his mid-20s. He's a dad. He has 2 kids. You know, I just hope he carries along with him. Learn to help others and help yourself too. Because where he lives, it gets hotter than hell in Redding. You know, I mean, I had the chicken pox. It was 117 degrees. We didn't have air conditioning, coolers, stuff like that. I had to learn how to soothe myself and all the itching and scratching and a freaking soaking in a bathtub. Anyway, people have had too many creature comforts, and the people that have had all these creature comforts, they didn't take all the goodness that they felt and all the security and offer that to anybody else. They took it all for themselves. So now there's all these people that are getting their security stripped away. I hope their parents gave them good coping skills like mine did, whether it was directly or inadvertent. You know, there's coping skills out there. Supposedly, it's everybody's responsibility to know everything. I've been having a lot of lawyer stuff come up on my my feed lately. And this guy, I took some screenshots this morning. For educational purpose, do you know what law stands for? Law, land, jurisdiction of each. Law, the land, common law. Air, trust law. For A. W, water. Admiralty, maritime law. See, I think that they know all the secrets about this. There's so much with maritime law. That's what that Maxwell chick did. It's like, I hate AI, dude. It's so stupid. I didn't ask you. Don't tell me shit I'm not. It's evasive. That's why I hate it. It's evasive. Don't, it's. Anyway. So, if you are living, you hold all jurisdictions in your dominion control because all are necessary for life. Courts secretly use admiralty maritime law as military tribunals. Tri meaning 3. This means they must have a willful consent from the prosecutor. I think I sent the whole thing to myself. I did. Okay, so where was I? This means they will have. Okay, courts secretly use admiralty maritime law as military tribunals. Tri meaning 3. This means they must have willful consent from the prosecutor, supposed judge, and the supposed defendant gain jurisdiction. If you don't consent, they have no jurisdiction and can move no further on your case. I remember asking my brother, I said, dude, you think you'll ever be a judge? He's like, no, I don't want to go that right. He's all about the easier, softer way. He's actually a judge advocate. Is that what do they call him? He's a JAG. Army judge advocate for the General Corps. So yeah, he's in the club. For sure. That's why. See, you don't got to kill people to sacrifice. All you have to do is neglect them and not do anything to help them. And people will just fade away and die off in obscurity. Because there's so many people that nobody cares about them in this life. Their parents didn't care about them when they were born. It's like, why am I here? Everybody has a purpose, but they just don't know what it is. So, okay. Where's the other part? It's a whole thing here. Unfortunately, a lot of trickery used in attempts to gain jurisdiction over the natural living man. Human hues of light manifest in the physical as man, woman, womb, man manifested. Life from what womb and physical reality of natural law and God law. Natural law, God law. That was number one. Two, appearance. If you make an appearance, you are appearing as a ghost and unknowingly consenting to water jurisdiction as the walking dead. See, it's just all this freaking secret stuff that people like, oh, that doesn't happen, but they freaking benefit from. And truth always comes out. Mom said that for years. All rise. You are asked to the rise in the court to consent as the rising of the dead. If you rise willing, you are consenting as a dead man lost at sea. See Critique Q Act of 1666. 4. Motion. They try to make you file motions as the dead to further deceive you and gain more control into fictitious. See, it's all reindeer games. It's all power, control, manipulation, taking advantage of people, all that lower vibrational freaking frequency. If anything, that I don't know what the future holds for intelligent artificial, but I hope it interprets the laws better than man does, and that a lot of these scumbag lawyers will freaking become obsolete because the interpretation of the words, But then I guess it's just contingent on the heart space of the programmer. There's more. This is on some dude on TikTok at J Ray, and he and his contribution to the world as he sees it. I thought it was pretty cool. Where's my okay? I think I'm about done. Where am I at on time? Good morning, Miss J. I hope you're well today. 28 minutes. Okay. So emotional. Okay. Anger goes someplace else. I found that when I get mad, if I don't do something to get at my anger, it's an energy. It's something that's, and I got to get it out. Like my yah-yah. So for a lot of years I danced, but my body's changing and things hurt more, so it's harder to do things. There's more consequences to doing things that I was once able to do without consequence. And so, but it's I learned from a young age the importance of keeping your body physical and moving around and all that stuff, because if you, it's like a must. It's every we just are. If you don't use it, you lose it. You lose your ability to freaking, you contain too much in your soul sack. It makes it harder for your body to function proper. Oh, I was saying, I said about that earlier. I was like, I wonder how people potty train. Like, do they just put a kid, like, you got to go to the bathroom, put them on and just let them sit there until they go? Is that how people potty train? Because if I was a kid, things would have been a lot better if my parents would have taught me like the reasons why to do things. For instance, I between me and mom had 6 inches of the lower part of her intestines cut out. About around the same time she had her stroke. It was a rough time for both of us. That period, and she had these, and so. And because she had a prolapse rectum, she went in to have a bowel movement one day, and she pushed too hard, and she's in her, the doctor. I was very young. I was like 16 when this happened. I drove her to the hospital. She had to sit sideways. It was surreal. And we show up there, and the doctor is like, "Yeah, a lot of times this happens to people when they get older, that when they've been sodomized." And I was like, oh, "Okay." I'm like a kid, like, this is my mom, and this is what the doctor says to me. I'm like, oh, okay. All the shit I've ever known in life is because somebody thought I needed to know it. And then I had a lot of bladder problems when I was a young kid because I hated going to public restrooms, so I'd hold my pee and I'd hold my pee till I couldn't hold it anymore because there were more negative memories tied to public restrooms than positive, just because mean old women would be like, feel indignant and freaking bad about themselves and want to take it out on little kids and do shit like, you're in the wrong bathroom, are you a boy and a girl and all that shit. And so I hold it, and your bladder's like a freaking balloon. And as you get older, it loses the elasticity. So the more you hold it when you're younger, you're going likelihood of you becoming incontinent later, because that balloon loses its ability to hold its shape as you get older. So why aren't people taught to like and if you think about it, when women have babies in Lamaze, they're taught to just breathe above the pain. I was taught that. I learned how to do that from a young age because I started my period when I was 9 years old, and I always had terrible cramps. And so, you can't put your misery on other people, so you just always have to act okay. Fuck that shit, dude. Fuck all that. So, in the world of childbirth, allowing and releasing and all that is the intended easier, softer route. But you put people on a toilet and they're all about pushing everything out, about evacuate, like how many people freaking end up dead, dudes, chicks, whatever, because all the crap that they eat. They freaking fill up the 15 feet of intestines of their stomach with just junk that doesn't pass through, and they don't drink enough water to move the stool through the system proper. And then it gets all hard, and then they keeps packing food and packing more on top, and then they gotta get it out. And then you got 20 dudes freaking standing around toilet looking at, a turd. I mean, this is what society has evolved to. And then people recording it, and then other people watching that. You know how many people die on toilets from just pushing too hard? They don't put that in the... died unexpectedly. Stuff happens too much. Doesn't ever have to happen. Whatever. I think that's about all I got. So emotional, okay. Anger goes... Oh, I don't think I even finished the story on the other top. How people get programmed earlier, and how I see, because when people aren't taught discipline in some way, they never learn it and they don't keep it. And undisciplined people are very dangerous. And when I lived in Omaha, I lived in the cutest 2331 North 63rd Street. It was the cutest house on the street, and until they took all the trees away. That was hard on my spirit when they chopped all the trees down around me. The city did. That was hard. Anyway, I used to sit on the porch until the city came and told me I had to take my couch that I sat on every day off my porch. I mean, it's just controllers. Just no, you can't do what you want, and I'm the boss of you, and blah blah blah, and all that shit, right? So I was sitting on my porch one day, and I lived in a community, little neighborhood called Benson. There's a lot of artists, more bars than people need. Shit like that. They got the art walk at the first Friday. They got, farmers market. They got all this stuff that attracts people, that diverts their attention from being a service to others, because they're all about service to self. And this mom walks by with a lady, her friend of hers, and she had a little boy, 7 years old, somewhere around, young. And the kid's hyperactive like I was when I was a kid, and he's over here and he's jumping and he's bouncing and he's doing this and that. And I'm sitting on the porch, and they didn't see me, and he looks up in the yard and sees all my flowers because it was springtime. And he runs into my yards and then grabs a flower and pulls the flower. And then runs back to his mom, and his mom's like, "Oh, that's so cute. Oh, look, he brought me a flower." And I stood up. I said, "Number one, your son is a murderer. Your kid you know what I mean? It's like, this is what people allow and teach. Number two, he's a trespasser. And number three, he's a thief. All at a very young age because you think it's cute. And how many people grow up, oh, what I do is cute. I can do whatever I want. There's no consequence to my actions. Look who's in charge. All the people that haven't, they're going to get theirs. It's not me. It's universal law. I just interpreted it. That's all. That's about all I got for now. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a rad